Ready for more stories? Welcome to Reminiscing, our Highline history, a radio show presenting the memories of our community in the Highline area. Listen to a new episode every week, Monday and Tuesday, with your host, Roger Price, at 106.5 LP FM, South King County.
Good afternoon. I'm Roger Price, and I'm a volunteer here at the Highline Heritage Museum. And today, I have Gina Glasgow Wills, and she's going to give us she's also a volunteer here at the museum, but she's going to give us a little history of how she got involved in the Highline Heritage Museum. So, Gina, welcome, and go ahead.
Thank you, Roger. We have a great group of volunteers here, and if you want to be a part of our team, please inquire. We can always use more friendly volunteers. I got involved with Highline Historical Society, the entity prior to the actual museum, in 2014, so 10 years ago. Before there was a museum, the society had a pop-up museum in an empty storefront in Burien on 153rd Street. And my husband and I were walking by and saw that and decided to go in. And that exhibit was Hope in Hard Times, this area during the 20s and 30s. And one thing I learned there, besides meeting the then trustee, Cindy Updegrove, was that this area had a lot of egg and chicken farms, and that produce and whatever else was grown here was shipped down to Seattle to the Pike Place Market. And that made sense because our house in Burien, it was built in 1921, and according to the archives, it was a chicken and egg farm. It was on Southwest 134th Street, and the original house still standing in great shape. In the 60s, the house was modernized. They lowered ceilings and put in shag carpet over that fir floor and a few other things like that. But since we've been in it, we've been uncovering that modern touch and, hoping for a little previous life in the home. And the home was, the people who lived there between the 20s and the 60s, their family has a history in this area also. And one of the grandfathers of that family was one of the miners who lost his life in the great mining disaster in 1898 in Roslyn. Roslyn and Cle Elm were another area that there were a lot of coal mining going on. We don't hear it about that area so much. We know about Coal Creek and Black Diamond in those areas, but not so much over the mountains there. So I thought that was an interesting tie also. And back to how I learned about this museum and this society, I ended up working for Cindy Updegrove in her office, doing mailings and whatever tasks were needed there for the museum at the time trustee. I did take a break for a little while the museum was getting built, and I've been back for about 3 years or so. And very happy to be here. Love history. That's probably why I bought an old house, and genealogy and all kinds of old things. Speaking of genealogy, I have 4 or 5 cousins in the area. None of us are originally from this area, but somehow we all moved here and we get together, and it's fabulous to be so close to these cousins. Some of them I knew forever. Other ones I got to know as we've lived here. And then we find out we have a shared grandparents, 8 or 9 generations back in New Amsterdam, New York. So that's kind of interesting. The small world. It's really a small world. Here at the museum, when we're talking to visitors, a lot of times, they knew somebody who knew somebody who, they go down memory road when they're here at the museum.
Yes, I think that's very interesting. And going back to the chickens and egg farms that were in the area, there were quite a few actually, like you say, and it goes all the way back to when uh, what was his name? Mike Kelly had his farm over around Sunnydale, and he also used to take a horse and wagon and take his goods down to the Pike Place Market downtown, and it was a source of income for those back in those days because there wasn't a whole lot of jobs that provided income for farmers out here. So
And a long commute.
yes, it sure was. Where those and there was only a few roads that led downtown at the time. Maybe kind of Des Moines Way and Military Road, I believe. I don't know if it went all the way downtown, but yeah, they were kind of hard roads to follow.
And I think part of it, they moved it down the river. They had boats that helped it get along a little farther.
Oh, uh-huh.
Yeah.
Sure. So, and your house is up kind of in the Chelsea Park, Hazel Valley neighborhood, I believe.
Evansville,
Uh-huh.
technically.
Yeah. And it's like you say, it's been there for many years. It's kind of neat to have one of those old houses that is still in good, fine condition. So,
Well, they don't build them like that anymore, as the saying goes.
uh-huh.
Yeah.
And like you say, I know you have a lot of cousins. I know Grace that does a lot of work for the is it the United Art?
Hungarian Arts Association.
Uh-huh. She's pretty involved in that, and she's drops by the museum a lot and helps out in a lot of different ways. So that's really helpful.
Absolutely.
So
Yeah.
so then you also after your volunteering with the Highline Museum. You did some work also at the Des Moines at the what is that down there? The
Wesley Holmes.
Wesley Holmes, yes.
Mhm.
So how did you get involved in that?
Well, I've always been a caregiver my whole life, no matter what I was doing. When I was very young, my older brothers would tease me and, call me little mother. And, my second birthday party, there's a picture and my mom made me a nurse's outfit. And that was the theme of my birthday party. So I've always taken care of people and things. And after years and years in office positions, administrative, I decided I might as well check out, the official nursing field. And I took I became a certified nursing assistant first, and then I started getting the prereqs for the RN program. Actually, there was at that time there was a lot of importing of nurses because we were short in this country. So I didn't get the prereqs that I needed, and I didn't need any more general credits. So it kind of happened in two ways that, I couldn't get on in those classes. And then my mother-in-law got sick. So with some background, I helped her for a while, and that was great.
Yeah, well, I think since you're back working and volunteering here at the museum, we're always kind of looking for volunteers to work either up in the front desk or in the back room doing research or different things. But you kind of do a lot of the scheduling, so
Oh, yeah.
this is it's kind of a fun thing to do. You get to meet quite a few people if you if some of these people do decide to ever come in
Absolutely.
and volunteer. So
Yeah.
we're
You
all
don't know until you try it. So
That's right.
I encourage volunteering, especially if you are a little older and you're not working full time anymore and you have some time to give. There are so many areas that could, do with your talents. There's reading with children, or volunteering at the museum, or going to whatever it is. There's something for everybody out there.
Yes, and you recently, just recently, your husband, he retired from Dairy Gold as a truck driver.
Yep.
So now you'll even have a little more free time. So uh, maybe we can also get him involved in some different aspects of the museum life. That'll be kind of fun.
Yeah, it will. And I mean, he has stepped in a few times, and he's getting good at putting up and taking down the tables and the chairs and the equipment. So he's been handy to have. And he enjoys coming down here too.
And he has a lot of cousins that live in the Burien
Yes, he
areas.
had four aunts and their families here. So I'm going to save that story for him, though.
Okay, sure. Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
Well, so you had many years kind of doing things in Burien, volunteer work and different things.
Oh,
So
yes.
what else is a story, any stories that really jump out at you as far as different fun things that you've done other than working in, you're always involved in artists and different things too. We have art walks here, and
Yes.
you were always partaking in some of those. So
I like all those events that we hold with the community, especially the ones where I can dress up in the costume. Those are always fun.
oh sure.
Some of us like to dress up still. Yes.
Yes, and we keep the artwork in our conference room downstairs, and it rotates. I think around every 2 months we get a new selection of artworks, and there's always something going on, whether it's an art walk or maybe there's could be even a wine walk that we've been hosted that several times too. So it's good turnouts.
Oh,
Turnout.
absolutely. I mean, there's old Burien's pretty nice to walk through. A variety of shops, and you don't have to come through the museum to see the art that is open to everybody. The only admission is for the museum, and for those art groups, Artists United and Burien Arts Association, they each hold an artist reception introducing the artist of that period. And that's a great way to meet people. And a lot of people come to these. So,
Yes, we generally have good turnouts.
yep.
A little bit depends on the weather and different things, but overall, it works out really well. So I know the artists appreciate it, and the museum appreciates it. So it's a good deal for everybody involved.
Absolutely. And, one of our artists one time, Burien Arts, had Maureen Hoffman's very interesting works. And Maureen, one of the ways Greg and I got to know the area when we moved here was we went on Maureen's Wabi walks, Walk Bike Burien. And they meet at a certain location, Town Square a lot of times, or maybe another one. And these are planned walks around different neighborhoods, or downtown. And it was very interesting to find out, more about these areas of where we had moved to, because neither of us really knew them. And those walks are so informative. I mean, they're specific, one, you'll see lakes or stone houses or art in yards, or any number of things. And in the town of Burien, they show, or I guess it's city now, not town. They walk about and see all the art that's actually in downtown Burien, and most of it's been here for quite a while. And you may not notice that if it's, you didn't know. So, or if you don't go to those places normally. But that's a great place, a great way to get to know the area.
Sure it is. Yes. Another interesting thing about of doing volunteer work here is that you may have an interest in some of the new exhibits that we're going to introduce in the next months and 6 months, 8 months. But so that's we got one, I believe, maybe Camp Waskowitz, which is of interest to a lot of people.
Lots of people.
So we'll be gonna do some things on that. And so there's all kinds of different volunteer jobs, I should say, that is available while you're, if you do decide to volunteer here.
I mean, or even like helping with some of the large events, kind of party type events. Those are always fun, and many hands make light the work. So you can have fun and help out.
Yes, that's absolutely for sure. So, yeah, well, good. That's great. And I know you stay busy doing this, and you're not far away, so that is always a good thing. And
That's very good sometimes, yes. So
you
I can be here in a hurry if you need to be.
That's right. You never know when you might be called upon to.
That's right.
So it's always sometimes, and people aren't feeling well, that it's good to fill in too. So
Absolutely.
well,
We all have a life, so we work on those things. If you need that month off or that day off, we're just glad you volunteer the time you do.
and I believe, I don't think we brought it up yet, but you have I believe it's a couple sons, don't you, that are
I do.
spread out all kind of all over the
country anyway.
Yeah.
And I have brother and nephews who are in France, and yeah.
So your one son, isn't he in Texas or something?
Oh, yes, way down. He's a professor at a university down there. University, Texas, Rio Grande Valley, and he and his wife are both professors at the college there. And that was a definite change in culture and temperature and everything when they moved to Texas from Philadelphia. So.
Oh yeah, well, at least you can stay in touch with FaceTime and different aspects of.
Absolutely. Doing video calls through Facebook. It's, I call my brother through that too, the one in France, and it's free and you can see each other and it's not a bad phone call. So,
No.
yeah, it's a wonderful thing.
Yes, that's a great idea. So rather than because sometimes you just can't, you got to keep in touch, but you can't actually go there. So
yeah.
Well, that's great.
Yep.
So yeah, well, gee, this has been entertaining, Gina. So I'm glad we got to do this today. I don't know what else. Maybe there's a few other things that is on your mind you'd like to share with us, or.
Sure, I can think of just a couple of little things. Speaking of caregiving, both of my cats right now one is in hospice and one is just a very elderly little cat. So, but she's doing great. But my husband was just discussing this earlier. They both need a lot of attention right now. So, and that's great. The one to do it, the older cat, I've only had her not quite a year. So she came to, I may need to name it now, Gina's home for frail and elderly cats, or whatever. It's just
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're kind of so you keep an eye on them and or babysitting them or kitty sitting them and taking
Make
care
sure
of.
they're getting their food.
Sure.
And whatever. Yeah. So it's like,
that's great though. Sure.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know, that cat, the older one she might not have had a great, end to her life, and, quality of life is really important. I think animals and humans, So, yeah, but she's having a good life, better life now.
Sure, that's
Yep.
great.
Mhm.
Yeah. Well,
Oh, and also they're kind of on split floors because, that old cat's never been around any other cat. And my other cat, my younger cat, just wanted to go and like get in her face. So they're split up.
sure. Yeah, there's times when cats just they don't get along, and so keeping them separated is probably the best
Yes, we're all
idea.
concerned. Yeah. But while I'm down with her, I have a sewing area, and we were talking about different kinds of arts earlier. I guess my art is quilting and sewing because I've loved to do those things. I've done those since I was very young also. I'm sure I made like doll dresses and things. So that's been another lifelong, area of mine. So
Yeah, hobby or whatever it could
yes,
be. Sure.
absolutely. Yeah.
Uh-huh. And just like reading or
Oh,
anything.
I do a lot of reading too.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, good. That's great. I'm
Yeah.
glad that we were able to you were able to come in and do this interview today, and I appreciate you showing up, and we'll get this going. So, Gina, I thank you, and the museum thanks you, and we'll get this going.
Yeah, Roger, I'm great that you're doing these, but I miss you on Sundays,
Oh, well,
because you find interesting things in the newspapers and, maybe motorcycle store ads from Burien long ago, and my husband enjoyed those. And, your wealth of knowledge in the area, I keep saying I'm a newcomer. It's like 24 years now. So,
oh,
but I didn't go to school here, and my boys didn't go to school here, so I'm a newcomer. That's
yeah,
like, working with Cindy and going on those walks helped a lot to get to know the area. And then just being here, we meet so many interesting people who, have a story and yeah.
yes. Well, just mentioning those uh, motorcycle ads and stuff that I find in the Highline Times from the 60s.
Mhm.
There was a Yamaha dealership here, a Honda dealership here, Suzuki, I believe. So they were all pretty popular back in those days. But yes.
My husband has a couple of stories about trips he made down here, so yeah, that would be a question you could ask him, Roger.
Uh-huh. Sure. Well, that's great. And and that'll be another subject next time. So we'll get into that. So,
Absolutely.
okay. Well,
Thanks, Roger.
you bet. Thanks,
Bye.
Gina.